Paranormal Survivor, Boy in the Red Parka, take one. Mark.
The house was big. We had about 1.5 acres of land, big 2-story house. It was amazing.
When Chris was just 18, he and his family had moved from the city to start a new life in the country.
Me and my family were very excited to move in. My mom opened the boxes. She unpacked all of the dishes because my mother was actually very critical on where she put the dishes so that everything could be put together for cooking in the mornings. The first night we were in the house, strange things happened almost immediately. We heard just really loud, just bang. I was startled and scared. You know, you hear something like, it really could be anything. I mean, we just moved into a new home. I mean, shoot, I don't know anything about this home.
I didn't do this!
All the cabinets open, all the dishes stacked all in a row, right in the center of the table.
Chris Houston moved to the country with his family, but on the first day in their new home, strange things began to occur.
I didn't do this!
All the dishes stacked all in a row, right in the center of the table. It's a terrifying situation. You have no idea what happened, but you also know the reality. And the reality is every one of those dishes we witnessed going into those cupboards and being put up.
Stay here. Stay here.
The door was open in the front at that point, so my mother had decided, well, you know, maybe it's a prank. We've been here the first day. We don't know anything about the local kids. Maybe they're just pulling a stunt.
Kids. Let's put this back in.
I did feel uneasy after that.
Spirits can manifest things, and they're going to manifest things to get your attention. Things such as dishes or things on the counter, they're going to use that to let you know they're there. So they could stack them, they could move them, they can manipulate them in many ways to basically get your attention.
The troubling events in Chris and his family's new home were only just beginning.
About 2 weeks out,
hello?
we heard my sister wake up and scream.
What's going on?
There's somebody in my closet!
Where?
I saw somebody!
She thought 100% this is a ghost. She was very avid about it. He was watching me. I think he wants to hurt me.
There's nobody in here.
I swear there's someone there! I saw somebody! I saw someone!
Okay, look, just calm down, okay?
I think he was observing her. At that period in time, I did not think that there was any harm, though I did believe her 100%.
Just go back to sleep, okay?
My sister was terrified after the first 2 weeks, so she had mentioned that to Mother and myself and said, I don't want to stay there anymore. In the back of my head, it came off as there's something in this home and it's obviously watching us.
Chris would soon realize his suspicions were correct.
I was raised in a household where electronics was pretty common. I got fascinated with how it worked. So tearing apart and putting things together again became kind of a fascination of mine. I had the privilege of getting a broken receiver and I had some brand new speakers. Of course, the speakers weren't connected yet. At the moment in time that I was working on that, the first thing that happened were the lights flickered and dimmed. It wasn't just, you know, something you could explain. And the moment the light goes off, I'm hearing noises out of the speakers. I heard thousands of whispers coming out of the speakers that weren't connected, repetitively going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So I picked up the speaker and I put it up towards my ear and could identify that these whispers were here. And then I dropped it, scared to death. I was terrified. I had no way of explaining it.
It wasn't long before Chris got a glimpse of what was tormenting his family.
Now, our kitchen in the backyard has a small window by the sink and then a large window down by the dining table. And I looked outside and I saw this little boy standing at the end of the yard in a red parka. He was just standing there. The boy was literally just standing there staring at me. When I looked at him, I felt hatred. I felt that he kind of hated me. He didn't want me here.
A spirit will give you the sense that you are unwanted in a home if you've wandered into its space. A spirit in any age can be territorial, even the spirit of a young boy. That doesn't change just because they pass away, just because the body ceases to be. If it's a characteristic of the individual in spirit, they're still going to carry that into the afterlife.
It seemed as if this was his place. This was his land. Go away. I don't want you here. And I will act out. And that's what I felt right off the bat, just by staring at him. And then he just vanished. Right in front of my eyes. Just gone. And that again was a very scary thing. Now you have affirmation. Now I know there is a ghost or something else on my property, in my home.
Chris got the disturbing feeling that the boy in the parka was watching him from the shadows.
I constantly felt anxious. I had a lot of trouble sleeping. I would consistently wake up, stay up for the rest of the night, actually. It was in the middle of the night sleeping, and all of a sudden I felt the bed sheets tugging. It was almost as if something grabbed it and just started pulling it. You could see where it picked it up and pulled it off. It was a startling moment.
Teen Chris Houston was being hounded by the spirit of a young boy who didn't want him or his family in their new home.
Then right after you get up and you're scared, I could hear the little boy giggle. You hear him laugh. I got more scared when I heard the giggle.
The terrifying nighttime activity started to become a regular occurrence.
I heard a noise, woke up, then I watched the lamp fly across the room. Then, of course, again, little boy giggle. As if to say, hey, I'm here, so I'll do what I want, when I want. I was terrified, I was shaking, I was frozen in place. There's nothing I could do. At that point, you go past startled and annoyed to frustrated and scared at the same time. because we're invested in a home, we're stuck here, and no matter what happens, you can't control this.
Terrified to sleep in his own bed, Chris turns to the couch, but there's no escaping the spirit of the boy.
I heard him enter, I heard him come in, I knew he was there. I think that's all I needed, to be honest with you. You could tell that there was anger and hatred in the room. His demeanor was menacing. I was terrified. I woke up terrified. It was a adrenaline moment, I guess you could say. I was scared. I didn't know what was going to happen next.
Pushed to desperate measures, Chris confronted the evil presence.
So I reached out to touch his arm. And when I got to the arm, the easiest way to explain the feeling is almost as if you've been slightly electrocuted, I guess you could say, kind of like a static electricity. And he grabbed me. Its grip was stronger than anything I've ever ran into. I was physically thrown on the ground, pushed down, and then he turned into this really dark, massive, unexplainable existence. I guess a mist, a shadow. I thought I was going to die. I started saying, I am God's child, you cannot hurt me.
I'm God's child, you cannot hurt me! I'm God's child, you cannot hurt me!
And I heard an incredibly unimaginable scream. It was a cross between an animal and a human being. I don't know how to explain it.
I'm God's child! You cannot hurt me!
Chris's incantation worked, and the spirit of the boy disappeared.
The air lifted, the whole environment just changed. You just knew that whatever was there that was causing that was gone.
The ghost may have gone, but it had left a painful reminder of their confrontation.
You could see scratches. Looked like somebody literally took all 5 fingers and just ran it right down my arm. The attack was the final straw. It was kind of a, okay, I'm done, I've had enough. You win, I'm out. So the house went up for sale, it won.
Now fearing for his life, Chris urged his family to move out.
When I moved into a new home, the paranormal activity did stop. Knowing that you can walk away from a situation and not have it occur again and live a normal life is a wonderful thing. Even though I've done many, many things throughout the years, I don't think that would have happened if I would have stayed in that home.
Hey. Let's go.
When I researched the area, I did find that there was a little boy, did pass away, and it was of hypothermia. He died in the middle of the winter. You can hear these stories 1,000 times, but until you live through them, you don't know. And once you live through them, your eyes open up. They make you realize that there's a lot more out there than what you're raised to believe.